It's April 25th, 2021. Let's start the update with the grape. You can see all the buds are open now, and the leaves are getting a lot bigger. I should set up a structure for them to climb on. Here's the asparagus. You can see the sprouts are growing nicely. This one and this one, I think it's the second sprout. It's getting a lot taller. And this is probably the third one. And here's one that I harvested on Friday. And right by it is the purple variety. I believe this is the 8th sprout we have this year. And right here we have the 6th and the 7th sprouts of the year. Both are the dark purple variety. And if you remember, in the same pot there's also potato, and you can see right here is a potato sprout. The saffron leaves are all turning yellow now. It's dying back. Here's the rhubarb. I kept one of the flower stalk right here, as you can see. The flowers have opened. And right here you can see a ladybug. It's a bit camera shy. And here's the mulberry. You can see a lot of leaves are forming now all over the plants, mostly closer to the main stem. Just gonna give you a closer look at all the leaves. Here's the green onion. The flowers have started to open. Here's the raspberry. Most of the growths are still on this cane, and right here you can see some flowers forming already. These other canes are a little slower. You can see these sprouts have just opened, and these buds are still sort of dormant. Not even sure if they're gonna open. Blueberry is looking great with all the new leaves, and pretty much all the flowers are opened now. Haven't gotten a chance to really look at the plants, so I'm not quite sure if there's any bees around. The summer snowflake is pretty much done flowering. As you can see, most of the flowers are turning into seed pods now. My plan is to keep just one seed pod growing so I can collect the seeds from summer snowflake. Here's the striped squill, pretty much the same thing. Most of the flowers are turning into seed pods now. Here's some heavy seed pods. And here's a lot more seed pods, which I'm going to show you. My plan for this striped squill is pretty much the same as the one for summer snowflake. I'll basically just keep a few seed pods growing so I can collect the seeds. There's so many seed pods growing from this one pot of striped squill. And at the same time, there's still some new flowers forming. Here you can see some younger flowers, and here are some flowers that have not opened yet. The Persian pearl tulip is pretty much done. You can see the flowers are gone and the leaves are turning yellow. Grape hyacinth is doing the same thing. Flowers are turning into seed pods. There's so many of them, so I'm probably just gonna leave them as it is. I clean up the hyacinth, no more flowers. Daffodil is right here. Rosemary is looking great, and the lavender is also looking great. All the new growths are still growing. Wonder when we're gonna start seeing the flowers forming. I brought the grape hyacinth latifolium upstairs, and the plant is also doing the same thing. Flowers turning into seed pods. I'll be keeping one of those. Calla lily is looking a bit healthier. You can see the sprouts are turning greener. Here's the sprouts. You can sort of see the leaf structure. Here's another one with the brown tip. Doesn't look too healthy. Right here is probably a brand new sprout from the bulb itself. Hopefully we'll see more of those. Dahlia is still recovering. You can see new sprouts forming from the old dead sprouts. The backyard is looking greener and greener every week. The flowers from the serviceberry are gone now, and you can see the base of the flowers are swelling, hopefully turning into berries. This one specifically is a lot more obvious. Let's take a look at the lily of the valley. The sprouts are getting a lot taller, and a lot of them also have flowers with them. Here's another cluster. You can see the sprouts with the flowers on the side. And here's a few more sprouts. And over here we have the hydrangea. A lot of flowers are forming. They're all over the plants. Even the smallest hydrangea is producing flowers. Here's the shooting star variety. Right here are leaves. Not too sure if there's going to be flowers. Here's definitely some flowers forming and dying. And here's some flowers forming. The phalaenopsis is looking great. The new leaf is certainly growing faster now. As expected, roots is forming from that tiny bright spot. I don't think I've shown you the other side of the plant, but basically same things are happening. New roots is forming from the stem, and the flower spike is looking a little bigger, but I'm not sure actually. The maidenhair fern is still sending out a lot of new fronds. You can see on this side, the new fronds have completely filled the empty spaces, and there's still more coming up. I repotted the succulents last week, and right here you can see this jade plant is already recovering. The older leaves are swelling and it's not looking as wrinkly. Same thing as the finger succulent. Most of the older leaves are still a bit wrinkly, but most of them have recovered and are looking normal again. You can also see a lot of new leaves forming. Here's another pot of jade plants. The leaves are still pretty wrinkly in this one. It's recovering a lot slower than the ones that are potted in vermiculite. The elephant bush is looking super healthy. A lot of new leaf growth. Here's actually a new sprout forming. This new zebra succulent has started to grow. You can see new leaves forming from the center of the plant. The hoya plant is still sending out a lot of new leaves and new growth. Right here you can see a very pink new leaf. And going down the vines you can see a bunch of new pink leaves forming. Right here, this is the longest new vine. Here is the string of pearls. Look at all the new growths. The lid of this pitcher has finally opened. I'll give you a closer look at the structure. This pitcher plant is definitely doing a lot better than the first one. This is one of the new leaves that have opened. Here's another new leaf that is already forming. And here's the tiny pitcher that is forming from one of the newer leaves. This is that pitcher with the lid that just opened. If you look closely at the bottom of the pitcher, you should see some shadow of the surface of the liquid. I didn't add any water, so the liquid already came with the pitcher itself. And here's the Venus flytrap. You can see the new leaves are forming very nicely. And also at the center of the plant are a few more new leaves forming. The last plant I want to show you is the fiddle leaf fig. The bud has opened and you can see some green stuff forming. I think that might be our new leaf.